So if you think the federal government is having a challenge, you ought to look at Massachusetts. We've got our own set of problems that some of them are our own, some of them we've inherited from the government. I'm talking the federal government, that is. And to help us understand what's going on downtown and how we react to it, we have with us our State Senator, Joan Lovely. Welcome, Joan.
Thank you, George.
And this is TBR, and I'm George Benz. So we got through 2025.
Yes.
And how did it go?
We were busy. We actually passed 92 bills. We passed 110 bills, but 92 bills were signed into law by the governor. We had
The others on hold, or they vetoed?
No, they weren't vetoed. They're still in the legislative process.
Oh,
but
more data.
Yes, more information. And so we've heard almost 7,000 bills were heard in our joint committees. A lot of bills. A lot of those are refiles. A lot of times a bill won't pass the first session. It may need some work.
Yeah.
And sometimes a bill written at the beginning is a bit different coming out the other end when it goes to the governor's desk. Yeah. So that's what those bills are doing. But we're still working on a lot of other bills. The highlights, we passed a cell phone free in K-12 schools. So students can't have their cell phones during the day. For certain types of opportunities they can. But by and large, they are either leave your cell phone at home, or if you bring it to school, it has to go into your locker, or it may have to go into a designated spot within the classroom, because it's a distraction. But we do understand that, especially parents want to reach students, students want to reach parents, but by and large, we're keeping cell phones out of schools. And you know what? It's working. It's already happening here in Beverly. It's Salem's had it going for a couple of years, as well as Peabody and Danvers. And we're seeing a difference so that students really can concentrate on their work and not be distracted. We also did a data privacy bill, so that it's a consumer control bill to make sure that consumers can have their data kept private and not out there on the World Wide Web. So we put that in place as well. We're protecting libraries from book bans. As we've seen, there have been book bans all across the country. And people feel passionate about it on both sides of the issue. They want to be able to read whatever book they want to, or the folks that want to ban books want them banned for whatever reason. So we're protecting our libraries so that they can offer these books to be read. And another bill that we worked on and got passed was broker fees cannot be passed on to renters. So you know, when a tenant goes to rent, sometimes they have to pay a broker fee where they're paying the landlord side and the tenant side, and it can be very costly, $1,500, $2,000. Then add in your last month's rent and your security deposit. Before you walk into your front door of that apartment you just rented, you're maybe laying out $5,000 to $7,500. Can't happen. So we said no, that we're not going to pass those fees on to the renters. So those are a few of the really major bills that we've passed out of those 92 bills signed into law.
Yeah, so had a good season. Yeah.
We did, and we're back at it. We're in the second half of our session now, and we're already, the Senate passed 6 bills last night. One particular one is on ballot measures and how those signatures get collected. We actually are seeing, we saw over $300 million of dollars outside of Massachusetts come into Massachusetts to influence ballot questions. Yes, yes. And so what we want to do is not have paid signature gatherers. This should be a grassroots effort. But we are seeing all those dollars are coming right from other states,
well, what
other
kind
entities.
of things are they financing from?
Well, they're financing paid signatures, paid signature gatherers, and sometimes they're paying for signatures. They'll pay someone for a signature.
What kind of bills are they
So there's
Ballot
11,
questions are
there's
the-
11 ballot questions that are just became certified through the Secretary of State's office. They have been moved over to the legislature, who can either take them up or send them along to collect another thousands of signatures, and then they go to the ballot. So some of those bills, I don't know the exact bills that may be influenced by these dollars, but we do have 11 ballot questions that are likely will be on the fall ballot.
Yeah. It'll
And
be
we
neat.
don't really want outside influence in our state.
No, they stay with your own state, straighten that one out first.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, these are national initiatives that want to change the way we, change Massachusetts and the way Massachusetts does its work. And a lot of people don't know that what's going on. So that's why we're exposing you. We call it a transparency bill.
Yeah. What else is on the schedule for this year?
So again, we're back into our formal sessions, and we will be busy right until the end of July. So the governor will release her budget next week. She does her State of the State. I believe it's next Wednesday night, or a week from Wednesday night. And no, I think it's next Wednesday night.
Okay.
Sorry, don't have
Yeah.
my calendar in front of me. But she does the State of the State address, where she gives the residents an update on where we are with our economy, impact from federal cuts. And then she releases her budget the next day. She'll talk about it. So I encourage your viewers to watch that online. It will be live, probably on major TV stations.
Yeah.
And then the House will do their budget in April. So the House will build their budget based on what the governor wants in hers and may add or subtract. And then the Senate will take up its budget in May.
Mm-hmm.
Same process. And then we will have a balanced budget by June 30th. And we're looking at revenue cuts, mass
Yeah.
health. We've already seen SNAP cuts reduced. We're
Yeah.
seeing cuts to health insurance, particularly to our connector program, to help people of low income be able to be insured. And so we've got some challenges.
Yeah. Well, it's been slowly showing up in the papers that the governor has a bunch of very expensive programs, like $600 million on the MBTA, and another $250 million on substituting for SNAP, and there's another $250 million and something else. So is this kind of money already in the budget, already in the system, or is this all new money?
So the $600 million for transportation is in a bond bill that we passed last session. So we are trying to really upgrade our transportation system, and so those dollars are accounted for, and we're moving as quickly as we can towards electric rail, especially on for us the Rockport Newburyport line, much more frequent service, much quicker. Get in and out of Boston in half an hour, and the trains would run every 20 minutes. So, really encourage people to get on public transportation. The $250 million that is because of the cuts to Obamacare,
Yeah.
and so that we're seeing that cut in place, and so the governor did infuse $250 million into connector care, which is again health insurance for our low-income folks who otherwise wouldn't have access to it. So she's keeping that train on the track, so to speak,
Yeah.
to make sure these people stay insured. We did see those SNAP cuts, and we had to respond. Remember, there was a government shutdown.
Oh, yeah.
And the government, federal government may shut down again at the end of this month, at the end of
Oh,
January.
yeah, they're not making any progress in it, yeah.
They're not. So, as a state like Massachusetts or any states, we have to be prepared to respond.
Yeah.
And so we're watching it carefully.
Yeah. The government can shut down, but you can't turn off the table.
No,
You've got to put the food on the table
that's right. That's right.
every day, yeah.
Absolutely.
And you get into a lot of these situations, I guess, that we got our own problems to solve, and there's no help coming from the government. In fact, they're adding to our problems. So
Almost on a daily level,
Yeah.
a daily basis, something new is coming, and it can be overwhelming. But you know what? We're the government, and we have to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
So we are.
and we get into some of these issues where you start raising the taxes to cover these costs, and you start encouraging people to move someplace else.
Right.
And
Well, we did a big tax relief bill last session, and we want to make sure that Massachusetts stays affordable.
yeah,
And so we're looking at additional relief this session as well.
well, one of the ballot questions I think it got approved is cut the state income tax.
From 5% to 4%
Yeah.
increments. Yes, so it has its initial approval through the Secretary of State's office. That moves on to the legislature.
Yeah.
Legislature can either pass it or go back to the petitioners, and under the law, how it works is would need more signatures. That process is underway right now, with the legislature reviewing, and then make that decision
Yeah,
when the time comes. But I fully expect to see that that ballot measure.
It'll make it on the ballot, yeah.
Yep. There's 11 ballot measures, and there are 11 petitions. So, and here we are. I'll name a couple of them. Protect tenants by limiting rent, so that's rent control.
yep,
A law relative to election day registration, so same day registration as an election. Here's the one reducing the state personal income tax from 5% to 4%. Here's one regulating marijuana. Some folks would like to see that reversed and not have marijuana be available, recreational marijuana be available. Yeah, so we've got quite a few ballot measures, and like I said before, this $300 million that's been spent from outside influence, outside Massachusetts, to influence some of these ballots.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure that's reporting. So what happens is, as a legislator, I have to report monthly on any expenditures or donations to my campaign account.
yeah,
But these ballot initiatives don't have to. They don't have to report until just 60 days before the election. So all year long, we have no idea who is donating to these ballot initiatives. So we said, no, you have to follow what the legislature follows and other entities. But put the ballot measures in the same lane as for the reporting. So people can look it up every month and see who is influencing, who's
Yeah.
donating.
Yeah.
$300 million is a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
They'll buy a couple of double-decker trains.
There you go.
Yeah, I got the list out of what that $600 million is going to be spent on. And I think it's $150 million is going to get spent on the double-decker trains. Yeah. But there are a lot of these issues coming down the line that get involved with are we really helping the process, or are we going to slow it down? And
I think under the new leadership at the MBTA, Phil Eng, who's the general manager, and now the acting secretary of transportation, he's brought a lot of experience with him. He's surrounded himself with the right people that know what they're doing, and we're seeing some really positive impact on our transportation system. You know, subways, of course, feed all of Boston and some of the suburbs. Of course, our trains said if you're further out. So we just want to make sure that people are able to get where they need to go. You know, Salem's looking at a second rail stop down by the college.
Yeah.
And that's got some legs under it. So,
well, the other thing that bothers me, we mentioned about the marijuana issues, and marijuana was on the ballot
2016, yeah.
2016,
Yeah.
yeah. And one of the issues in there was that got passed was having these cannabis bars,
Right. Public
Yeah.
consumption.
public consumption, yeah. And it hasn't happened yet. And
No,
they're
but
still
the-
kicking that around.
Cannabis Commission is now actively looking at that.
Yeah, but it's 10 years after
No.
it was passed.
Well,
so
no.
this
It took us a couple of years. Once the initiative passed, it took to write those regulations. It was close to 2 years to really properly regulate. Right, put all those regulations in writing. Takes some time, but I think that may happen.
yeah.
Yep.
And a lot of the concern I've had with, well, I've been reading a couple of books lately, it gets me in trouble, but why things happen and why they don't happen. Mostly it's a comparison between China and the United States from the big picture point of view. But one of the things that got brought out in the book called Abundance was legislature will pass a bill. This is a good idea where to do this. And then there comes in, well, if we're doing that, why don't at the same time, why don't we add in and add in and add in? And next thing you know, you end up with, it takes forever to get anything done. And that's what I'm concerned about with electrifying the trains. It's a matter of you got to string the cables and put the catenaries in. You got to switch over all the trains, buy a whole new set of them probably.
Right. That's right. Because
Yeah.
we've got very old stock,
Yeah.
old diesel locomotive
So
stock.
converting the old stock into electrified trains is a debate versus buying new. Well, where are you going to buy the new ones from? Is there a company around that makes new electric trains?
Not in this country.
Yeah, and here we go again.
Right.
So, on one hand, there is an opportunity for somebody to start a business in Massachusetts,
Right.
but it will probably be a Chinese company that comes in and makes them.
Because of labor costs.
Yeah, and we're into this predicament every time that nothing gets made in this country, and when it does get made, it takes forever,
Right.
or it
Well-
dies along the way.
We're bringing a lot of manufacturing back to Massachusetts, and we're actually teaching that in schools, high schools.
Yeah,
The Voc School, the regional high schools, Salem High has got a manufacturing course, so that we can get good paying jobs, and you can go right into a work program, and you don't have college costs, you don't have tuition that you have to pay back over how many decades. So we are moving pretty rapidly towards that. The tech, Essex Tech, is now going to be almost 2,000 students. It really is amazing how many students want to go there and get a career technical education.
well, what happened recently is they've changed the rules on getting into a tech school.
They have,
It's now a lottery,
right?
and a whole lot more people applied for course
Right.
admittance
Read that,
because of the better chances.
right?
And I mentioned this when I was talking with Rep. Bowen a while ago, that, the kid is that it didn't turn out to be a very good poet. He might make a good electrician.
Right.
And got a totally different perspective on how things happen. So, it's a good thing to get it to a lottery because it gets it out of what gets to be a very narrow field of what they're looking for. People have to be multifunctional. You have to be a good poet. Then you can learn to wire houses
Right. There you
and
go.
kind of thing.
I want to be my plumber.
Yeah.
If I had a do-over, I think I'd come back as my plumber or my electrician. They do very well. I'm happy
Oh.
for them.
There's an old joke about that. As a plumber comes into a house, looks at the job, and fixes it, and he charges the owner $350. You're only here for an hour. $350 for an hour's work? I'm a lawyer. I don't make that kind of money, kind of thing. It says, The guy says, well, that's about what I was making when I was a lawyer. So you get into
There you
these
go.
predicaments that it's really hard to find good talent. There's
Right.
plenty of opportunity out there.
There is.
And it's an obligation of the state, I think, to look at the kids who are tactically educatable
Right.
and provide for them. So I think there ought to be much more technical stuff.
You know, as the baby boomers age out, you know, we need the replacement of this workforce.
Yeah,
So, yeah, absolutely.
yeah. And one of my other interests in life is getting AI into the schools.
Yes.
It's in there now, serendipitously.
Well, you know what? And be trained on how to use it properly.
Well, that's
right.
got into this discussion with a guy on the line today about AI is going to take over all the jobs and everybody's going to be out of work. And I stumbled across an article that was talking about AI. And what they pointed out in there is that AI goes out into the world of stuff that has been digitized and stored. Mm-hmm. And it regurgitates all that stuff and puts it together in a nice, complete package and tells you what the consensus is. Nothing original. It doesn't go beyond that.
Right. Right.
So until you get to the point where it can extrapolate the next step,
Right. That's right.
and that's really what needs to be taught is how do you go from whatever you get out of AI to something that's really worth the money?
Right.
And so I think that's something that the school systems have to adjust to, and it's really the talent that's looked for. And I think I've mentioned this before, that Meta, if you want a job with them, you have to take a test. And they give you a problem, write a program. And you are expected to use AI to write that program.
Interesting.
And then after you get the message out of AI, how do you make it really work right?
Right.
And so that's the talent that is selling. And that's the talent you got to
Yeah.
get the kids into.
It'll enhance the work that we do and in the education level as well. But it can't replace.
No.
It can't replace. Now, and there's the point. It's not a replacement. It's an enhancement.
Yeah, it's another
of your
tool.
work. Exactly.
And just like you have, when I went to engineering school, everything was done on a slide rule.
Yeah.
And it got replaced with calculators. And now it's replaced with computers. It just keeps moving on. And you've got to stay with it.
I remember my dad was an engineer, and I have his slide rule. I don't know how to use it, but I remember he would take it out and he would start to figure it out, and so I keep it as a memory of him because that's what he used back in the day. You're right, pre-calculator.
And another old joke about young lady gets a job in an engineering office as a typist, and she's transcribing dictaphone messages, and she types this whole thing out and comes down to the last line. And these calculations were made with a slide rule, SLYDROOL. But so there's a lot to be improved, and I think that's part of the game. Is
And
we got to stay with it.
And this kind of dovetails into data centers.
Yeah.
We have almost 50 data centers here in Massachusetts,
Oh,
but they
wow.
want to do a hyperscale data center out in Westfield. And that's where the air base is. It's a $4 billion project, over 120 acres. And we know about data centers is they have to be kept cool,
Yeah.
right? So they use a tremendous amount of power. And
And
so
a
what is...
tremendous amount of water too.
And water, exactly, and water. But if you're in the Netherlands, they have data centers, and how do they cool them? Geothermal.
Yeah.
They go down to the earth and bring that cool 55 degrees up, and they've created a system to make that work.
Yeah. That's the interesting thing about geothermal, that if you go down a little ways, like you got a 900 foot well,
Right.
yours, you get some cool air out of that hole.
Mm-hmm.
You go down to 1,700 feet, now you're getting hot air out,
Oh, yeah.
or steam,
Interesting. Yep.
and that's the other part of the geothermal is you make steam at 300 and some odd degrees, and you can run a turbine on that.
Sure.
So there are places around that is becoming one of the new green energy sources.
Right. We are standing on top of, these opportunities to heat and cool
Yeah,
what we do
yeah,
and how we live, right under us.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunity around it. And this is something that has to be taught in the school system.
I agree.
And there's always an ad someplace for a job for somebody that's knowledgeable in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, HVAC.
Mm-hmm.
And most of it is now installing heat pumps of one sort or the other.
Right. Ground source or air source.
Yeah.
Right.
So, again, these are the jobs that are readily available, and
Right.
we got to provide for them.
One call that we're getting a lot of is about our electric rates. People are, we're in the winter months,
Yeah.
and because we have to import our gas. Our gas has to come here by pipeline, and
Oh, yeah.
we use a lot of gas. That's the main fuel for heating homes. Look at the power plant over in Salem. That's a peaker plant, powered by gas.
Yep.
It used to be coal and oil, and now it's still a fossil fuel, cleaner fossil fuel,
Yeah.
but it's gas. And so I'm getting calls about electric, rates,
Yeah.
and most of it is the distribution charge, So you
Oh.
have the power charge, right?
Yeah.
But it costs more to get it here,
Yeah.
and so people are pretty incensed about it, and so the governor's been working on that with the legislature and the Department of Public Utilities to come up with a fixed customer charge and how the base distribution rate is configured, and then infrastructure costs could get rolled into that.
Yeah.
If you're a natural gas user, and we have all these gas leaks,
Yeah.
that gets passed on to the
Oh, yeah.
ratepayer. So we're working hard on that to get that under control, because rightfully so, people are upset.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things to work on, and we'll have to continue this discussion.
Okay.
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching us this evening. And as I mentioned, you've got a comment to make, send me an email. Or if you've got a longer comment, there's room for you here at the table. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.